specific name guest today, as this is going to be various creative teammates from the series Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. So we're going to just do it this way this time. We're going to go from my middle to the right. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Daniel Kalban. I'm the writer of American Dreams and of Night Raft, which is also on Kickstarter at the moment. And I'm also in Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, and I write the Dodo story.
You write the Dodo story. Nice. Mm-hmm. And this, of course, any other person has been on the show before. He's come back for more abuse. Travis Gibb.
Yeah, well, you promised me counseling last time, and I'm not better. So, I got to keep coming until I'm better.
Okay, but I'm going to have to start charging you. You know this, right?
That's not the way that works. Yeah. No, it's just until I'm better, and then I'll go away, right?
Yeah.
Counseling, it's a one-time thing. You just go one time, you're better, and you're fine. That's how it works.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I know. Then lots of people go back to therapy because they like their counselor. Then does that mean you like me, Travis?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Cool.
I'm getting one of those unhealthy crushes. I'm in crush with someone of authority. It's not.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happily married, but these things happen. These things happen all the time. And in fact, we should address that in our next section.
So I see that. I'm a lot to get over with right there. Not just the crush, which I'm actually might be the sanest thing in there. I'm in a position of authority, and Daniel's like, oh yes, JD, absolutely. There's has to be boundaries. There definitely has to be boundaries.
Boundaries? What are you talking about? There's no bounds. The counseling. In counseling, when you sign up, you have to be willing to open up, to tell everything, or you're not going to heal. So I'm just saying everything so I can heal.
And Daniel's like, what did I sign up for?
Rose entry on the couch, and this is the weirdest session I've been in.
Yes.
But I am Travis Gibb. I am the creator of Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, and I got 70 of my favorite creators together to create 36 amazing stories in Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. I also wrote the Red King versus the King in Yellow story. So,
who wins?
Spoilers. Can't tell you that.
I want to know because actually in my Wonderland story, I am using the Red King and the Red Queen in my next book. So it's like, yeah, fascinating character to go with. So. Oh man, you just gave me an idea where that might actually go, and just in my head, just off the top of my head. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Joss leaves and starts writing. He's like, "Talk amongst yourself. I got something."
Yeah. It's like, well done.
Talk amongst yourselves. The Holy Roman Empire, neither holy nor Roman. Discuss.
And never talk to the Alice guy about Alice in Wonderland. It's just going to give him ideas, and he'll be gone.
Yeah. Well, and just to give you guys a bit of it, Travis knows. Daniel doesn't know. I did a mashup of Alice in Wonderland and Greek mythology, and I make Alice Pandora. She opens Pandora's box, and the Cheshire Cat goes inside her head. And she's kind of lost in this really strange post-apocalyptic fixture. And every time she gets a piece of Wonderland back, she remembers a little bit about what happened to her before she got there. And there's a really cool catch that I can't really talk about on the air, but it's basically I've been building towards this. But yeah. My next series goes into it goes in through the Looking Glass, and it deals with through the Looking Glass and the Houses of Fate in Greek mythology. So it's going to be kind of like a fun little mashup when I get there. But that is my future, not my current present. In the present, you guys are doing your own Kickstarter.
Well, hold on. Let's not scheme past this. Because last time we talked, it wasn't released. So it's been released now.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. Well, I've had Alice Zero, which has been out for over a year, got nominated for an award. Right. Alice 1 came out in December last year.
Right.
And Alice 2, which is what I'm talking about, is what I'm working on now. Well, actually, what I'm working on right this minute is I'm trying to figure out if I can stay not getting a real job and keep freelancing. Because it's getting to a certain point with me where I'm going to have to make some decisions. So it's make or break time for me. So that's my immediate, present, future, whatever. But past that moment, past that time, I already know what my next 3 books I'm writing this year, and one of them is that Alice sequel. So I'm working on a novel, and I also have the book my own book I'm drawing right now, which is kind of freaky. So I mean, I got a lot of stuff creatively on the burner. I just got to get my shit together between now and then and figure out whether I'm going to be able to maintain living as a freelancer, or if I'm going to have to get a halfway real job by working at a Starbucks or a gas station or something like that for the interim, which might be the future. I'm trying to avoid it as much as possible, because I gotta let you guys in on a secret. I'm too old to work for people. I feel I'm too old to work for people. So but again, it's part of freelance life. You go up or you're down. Sometimes you have to go back to the working world. Sometimes you can kind of stay on your own. I'm hoping like I stay more on my own. But yeah, that's what I'm planning on working on.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So, but I guess what I want to kind of go is I'll start with Travis and what I'll get to know, and because Travis is only here for a limited amount of time, Cthulhu Invades. He's invading like Wonderland right now. You had Cthulhu mythos invade Oz,
Right.
and it looks like they're setting their sights next on Neverland. I'm not going to say who wins, but it looks like the Horde is always going to invade. So why is Cthulhu always invading in your stuff?
He's just got nothing better to do, you know. He's up in the air and, you know, just trying to spread the madness, you know. Believe it or not, we never addressed that. Maybe that's something I should address. We never addressed the why, just that he's doing it.
Yeah.
In the first book, the reason why he invades is some of the Cthulhu monsters meet Dorothy, and they have a nice talk. And during that nice talk, Dorothy treats them like they're characters from Oz. So she, you know, talks to them and is like, oh, here's all the cool things that I know about magic and stuff like that. And, you know, Cthulhu, H.P. Lovecraft creatures don't view that stuff like Oz characters, right? They're like, power, like things I can steal, take over, destroy, kingdoms. Like, so they go back to their master. Cthulhu finds out about it. He invades. And then at the end of that book, you know, spoilers for those who haven't read it, Dorothy rats out that there's other universes, and that is where Alice comes from, Alice in Wonderland, and he heads over to Wonderland after he completely takes over Oz.
So Oz loses big time.
Oz loses, yes. Oz loses, and the wicked witch is left in charge is where we leave it. Yep.
Ah. So you got Revolt in Oz somewhere down the road if you ever want to write it, if there's anything like Revolts.
Well, our plan is this. I'll show you the plan. So our plan is, this is our first Star Wars trilogy. So this is, you know, Oz, Wonderland, Neverland. That's the trilogy. That's the saga. But in that, we're doing breadcrumbs of what could come after, right? We're doing breadcrumbs because you don't want Dorothy in your Wonderland book. And not that you can't do it, but the people who read Wonderland bought it for Wonderland. Give them Wonderland. Don't give them Dorothy in Wonderland. Or if I do, advertise it as Dorothy and Alice in Wonderland or something, right? Which is not what we did. So same thing with Neverland. You want Neverland to be pure. But what we're going to do is when we come out with a nice box set, probably a special edition of the book, maybe add something to everything, we'll add a small little book that'll be called Cthulhu Invades Aftermath, which will kind of mix all those universes and kind of share some of those stories.
Gotcha. So I think the one thing about Wonderland is, though, I don't know if Cthulhu could actually drive anything mad, because they're already mad, right? How do you infect someone with madness if they're already crazy?
Well, that's a great question. Why don't you answer that, Daniel? Because I addressed that with the crew.
Well, it's like this levels of madness. Plus, you know, you only need a little push. You go into even more levels of insanity and depravity and whatnot. I think trying to this over because I'm telling you like a mental blank, unfortunately, of what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah. So what we're doing is when we created this adventure, one of the rules for writing in it was you had to have a character be either loyal or mad. So that each of the character joined either the mad, embraced the madness fully, or were loyal to Wonderland. Because it's not that they're not mad, it's just that, hey, this guy has bad intentions to Wonderland. You know, so it's spreading that and splitting it up. And it does split the world in two. So Alice leads a group of loyalists, and the Mad Hatter leads a group of mad.
Interesting. And which side is Cthulhu with? Like, I'm assuming the Mad Hatter?
Well, he runs kind of the mad. He's kind of encouraging the madness.
Sounds like the invasion would be more subtle, because it would just be like, well, they're already crazy. I might as well use what I have. But I'm surprised, but then again, when I was reading Alice in Wonderland, the interesting thing is there's an interesting argument that Alice is all the maddest of them all, right?
Right.
Right. So it's interesting. So how would Cthulhu drive her mad if she's the loyal one? She might already be the craziest of them all. It's all in her head,
Right.
or maybe it isn't. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, there's a lot to that. We kind of address that, which is fun. It's kind of the fun part of it.
oh yeah, totally. So is there a okay? So I'm going to talk to Daniel real quick here because they have to properly introduce yourself. So Daniel, you say you're a comic book writer and stuff like that. So how'd you get in?
So it starts 2010. It's a blizzard. I'm on winter break from college. I'm bored out of my mind. I had started reading comics again, playing Comixology, which is now seems to be a pleasant memory. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna write a Superman screenplay because I wanted to get back into superheroes. All right, it's not very good. Or a Batman one again, not very good. But I started maybe writing fan fiction. From fan fiction becomes fan scripts. From fan scripts becomes my own scripts. And then I and a friend put together a comic, and then we picked up a publisher, which then there went. But at the time, the publisher said, "Do you have anything else?" And I pitched the comic, which is now American Dreams, which is now completely self-published for complicated reasons. And I do Night Raft, which is now on Kickstarter as well. So presently, I have 2 Kickstarters, and I have a story in his Kickstarter. So we've kind of been doing like back and forth promotion.
So basically, your boredom led you to like rediscovering a passion. Then
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. So which story did you put in Wonderland?
I did the Dodo.
You did the Dodo. So so does the Dodo go extinct, or is that too much of a spoiler?
Well, the story is called The Last of Its Kind, and I'm not going to say why it's beyond that.
Okay. I somehow have visions of a dodo cult of Cthulhu with Cthulhu tentacles on there. I don't know why. That's just what it's hit my head here.
I will say I gave Travis 2 different possible endings, and he chose the happy one. In quotes.
The happy ending.
In quotes.
I'm almost terrified when you have like happy and like that doesn't sound good. That sounds there. So okay, that sounds like a lot of fun. Actually, so let's go like this then. When you, Travis, when you approach, like obviously I've been seeing like what you've been doing with the next series, like you're asking people who are interested and open and stuff. So, but this is your second anthology, and I'm assuming you learned a lot from the first anthology. So
Sure.
what were the biggest things from the first anthology you did that you like? I really love. And I wanted to incorporate into Wonderland. And what were some of the things you were like, I need to do this differently?
So what I really loved is just so in the first one I handpicked everyone. So it was very beautiful, very intimate. It really allowed me to show to let them know how much I valued them, right? Like I want you to be part of this. So that was a beautiful piece that we did in 1, that we did a little bit in 2, but not fully. And it's something I'm kind of getting back to in 2, but not in the same way. In 3, but not the same way. Something I wouldn't do. The only thing I wouldn't do is I made it glow in the dark. Glow in the dark sounded really cool, but it just didn't pan out. I didn't like the way the covers looked. I like the way it looks when it glows, but I don't like the green like junk.
No.
Shit. Yeah, I didn't think it through. I don't know why. I just didn't think it through. Here, I can have one here. Oh, actually, yeah. I was like, so see how junky it looks like because of the glow?
Yeah.
Versus this is what the art looks like, right? That's cool. Like, I kind of feel like I ruined the art. Like this would have been a great print. I should have made this as like an edition as a print, that they could put above their cover if they want to, but I didn't. And I kind of wish I did. That's the only thing I regret. I went trendy and didn't think it through, even though I've seen glow in the dark my whole life. So I know it's going to look crappy like that. But you just, in your head, when you're thinking, you're just like, oh, they're going to use the ink. It'll be fine.
The only glow in the dark cover I've ever seen I think worked really well is the Green Lantern number 50 way back in the day, because it's characters already using the green, so it kind of just fits. But yeah, it was the only one I've seen that looks really good.
Yeah,
But
I think that in the Ghost Rider one that they did, but again, it was just because the flaming skull, and you just do the skull wasn't, just the flaming part was the glow in the dark, so it looked fine.
yeah, so sounds like, yeah, like you try stuff and when you put things together, and sometimes it doesn't hit. Like I know that too. So Daniel, I'm going to ask you this. So like, have you enjoyed working is our anthologies for you kind of like a break between your books? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or is
it's
or
kind
is
of a
it,
break. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No, Mike.
It's a break, but it's also a lot of work because thankfully, Travis this time found me the artist, but for another anthology I was in called Project Big Hype, I had to find an artist. I was like, I had to go for that. And that's always a stressful thing, like choosing artists who I know or seeing, or like artists whose artists I really want to work with them. And when it's a anthology, I have a deadline to get there. So I'm like, okay, how do I do this? And also, you can say on social media, I'm looking for an artist. This is my what like the things I need you to submit, and of course you get a whole bunch of people sending you pinups instead of sequentials, because I want these sequentials to decide if I want to work with someone or not.
Yeah, no, it's important because pinups are sweet.
Yeah.
You can do some really cool things with them with covers, but you have to be able to tell a story, and that's a hard thing to find with some artists. Just can't do it, and I realize that some artists just make really pretty things, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And I found a great artist whose name unfortunately is put my brain for my one for Project Big Hype, and I've teamed up with other artists for other anthologies, but I haven't gotten into another anthology since Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. So I was having a great thing, like, okay, 2 for 2, let's go for 3, and then ever since then it's nope.
It's hard.
It's hard, but you have to keep dusting yourself off and keep trying again.
Well, Elia, one of the reasons I started drawing was because I realized like putting together a comic book thing, that's hard, right? I realized if the worst ever comes to scenario, actually, if I can competently tell a story, now I'm not going to put myself in any department of some of the other people there, but if I can tell a story, I can at least do a comic, right? And that's something I've always kind of had in the back of my head. And Lord knows I'm drawing stuff now for people, now for money. So I mean, things evolve. But it's one of those situations where I think, it's probably the hardest thing in the industry is finding a good people to work with that are consistently there. It's the hardest thing.
Right.
Well, so question for you: the art that's in the Alice books, you don't do those though, do you? Somebody else does those.
No, I have somebody else that does those. No, I have drawn Alice. Like I have drawn my own versions of Alice just for practice and stuff like that. Right. But no, it my own personal art style has evolved a lot in the last few months. But it's I'm competent. I'll just say I'm competent at it. I'm drawing a book right now. I'm doing kind of like a little homage to Fahrenheit 451. And it's called Lights Out, and but instead of being about reading, it's about drawing. Someone just getting started drawing, which is why I thought I'd be good at this, because it's something that can fit. Right. It fits the story I'm telling too, so it works. But one of those deals, one of those things is like I said, it's knowing what stories I can tell versus what I can't. I'm not Mog Park. I'm not Anvu. I'm not someone that can do those elaborate things, but can I make a character have an expression? Can I make a character do an action? Yeah, I can do that. I made it a point to learn how to do that. So, but that's me. I mean, I could show you some of my takes on Alice if you want, or off the air if you like, but I mean, it's not, yeah. But
just a curiosity thing, just
Yeah. No. And even going into the future, I mean, I'm not drawing everything I do. Like I find good people that draw or can do things better than I can. That's a big.
And someone else promoting your stuff, right? That's a big deal.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it, but it's also sometimes it's the vision of the story. Like for me, when I look at a story I'm trying to tell, okay, what's the best vision? What's the best possible version of the story I can do? And there are things I can do very, very well. There are things I can't do so well.
Right.
And again, it's not me being like hypercritical. It's just knowing what my limitations are. And you when you have that and you're kind of in your head, you're like, okay, how can I make this work? How can I make this go? I'm a pretty good generalist. I can do a lot of different things, but I don't have I don't have the years of practice some of the people that have been doing this for a long time either. So I have to look at the fact that I'm competent. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm great. And again, I'm not trying to belittle myself either. It's just realizing where I'm at in the scheme of things. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, but I realize I realized too, like for certain stories I'm going to tell, I might be the only person able to tell it, or the only person I can find to tell it. Right. And so if that's the case, how do I tell that story the best? And the more skills I have, the more I can do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So no, I just did my first anthology work about a month ago, just for another comic book property. I actually wrote the script to it. I was pretty happy with it, so I'm hoping to do some more. It's fun. Comics are a lot of fun. All right, so Daniel, I'll ask you this, and then we'll go back into more Wonderland goodness about the anthology and the Kickstarter and stuff like that. And that's this. What was the book that made you want to do comics in particular? We always have like a story that goes, I want to do this.
I don't think it's just any one book, but I think it's like, I think part of it comes from like it all starts, I think, at this little Betty and Veronica Digest I found literally lying on the street one day. I was about 5 or 6 on Prospect Park West. And that led to my dad finding his old Silver Age comics from when he was a kid. They were like shoved in the back of a closet at my grandparents' house. They found and dug out, and I got them, and I read them to death. And I think it's probably Batman Hush. I think ultimately that made me want to do it. Just the art, the storytelling. No, I can't draw a lick, but I can tell a story. I just need to find an artist to help me bring that story to life.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think I've asked this to you in the past, Trav, so I won't regurgitate that. But yeah, so I guess we actually ask this. With you running this campaign and doing stuff like this all the time now, do you actually have time to look at other comics for fun anymore?
Oh, yeah. I read 4 comics a day, minimum.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a hard rule. I actually read more than I write, which is a separate problem that I should address. But yeah, I make sure I read 4 comics a day because I have stacks and stacks everywhere. I have like in every room in my house. Like if I go to the bathroom, I have comics I need to. Like in this room, it's Iron Fist. I need to read this issue of Iron Fist, issue 2. I try to read at least 4 comics a day, minimum. Because I really want to do this, and you cannot do this if you don't really, really take it in. The good, the bad, and it's hard, especially because I literally read the worst comic the other day. And it is a second issue from someone who I didn't like the first issue. And this is an indie guy. I'm not going to put him on blast, but where you give him a second chance, where it was, all right, cool. Like maybe he just had a bad story. And then you read the second one, like, this is worse. It's getting worse. And I've never wanted to put someone like, go, don't make this. like, because you want him to get better. But what do? Do you private message him and go, I don't want to offend you, sir, but this is the worst I've ever read out of all of them.
Are they a friend?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a relationship where he's sometimes a friend. Yeah.
He's sometimes a friend. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes. This particular person likes to have opinions about things, and I sometimes do not like said opinions, especially when I did not ask for said opinions. So hence why I would also not give him free opinions. Since I have expressed to him I do not like said opinions to me.
Okay. That sounds like now that right there sounds like a therapy relationship.
See?
Right there. Now see that there. So my first novel, The Cloud Diver.
Yeah.
I like it. But it's got some flaws.
Yeah.
Now, I don't if it was me, this is just me.
Sure.
I don't really give a shit about my ego that much. If the story is really, really, really bad, and I want to get really, really better at this, then I mean, here's the thing: like, can you criticize this? Can you criticize the story, like technically, like on its pacing, the choices they made? I just want because that's the first thing. Because if you can do that, you have a right to actually say it. You could just hate the story, and that's a different problem altogether. That means the story actually might be good. You just hate it, which fair enough. I mean, there are stories like that, but
Sure,
yeah,
that's not
right.
this.
No, fair enough. I'm not here to again, I haven't read it, so I can't comment, right? All I can do is point out that if they are a friend, and if they're as serious as this as you, right? It would be worth if they are a friend, it would be worth your time to actually go and say, listen, you got a minute? I want to talk to you about some stuff, and this might hurt your ego. Just be upfront about it. I might crush your ego a little bit, but I feel you need to hear this. Right? Now, let's give them the option not to hear it, because again, hey, your book's crap, right? Is not exactly that's not a conversation you walk into lightly.
Sure.
But, right? But if you go in there with like, hey, listen, I want to help you. I want to talk about your book. I think it blows, but this is why I think it blows. And it's honestly like a legitimate constructive criticism of the book, right? You could it's actually quite helpful. And this, like I said, as someone who does read a lot of indie comics too, I sometimes feel when I read a book, honestly, like the first issue is the hardest read because I almost feel like from a lot of creatives, they don't know where their act one actually is, right? You're introducing characters, and I get you trying to introduce some stuff, make them care, but sometimes like, what's your story? And you don't get there to like page 20, and you're like, why did you wait this long? Well, to get to the story, because then issue 2 is better, 3 is better because you have a story you're working with, right? But I find like again, this is just a personal thing I've noticed, and if it's someone I care about and someone that really wants to do this seriously,
right,
I would tell them. Like I would legitimately tell them. Now, if they're not your friend, if they're not someone you really give that much of a shit about, honestly, forget this conversation. It doesn't matter.
It's all hard, and I actually find that for comics, especially in the indie market, issue 1's never normally bad. It's issue 2 where it starts to plummet.
Mm-hmm.
And I know why too. I actually studied enough reading and writing. The reason why that is in number 1, you know the story you want to tell, you know the ending, you know the climax, and you know the momentum you got to get there. So you push it to that place. But most people, that's their highest point. So they've got to drop it back down in the second issue to get back up there on issue 4 or 5 when they end, right? So they got to drop it back down naturally to get it back up there, or continue to go up and up and up, which most stories don't work like that, right? Most have a very take any stolen child or wife scenario, right? Oh my God, it's as bad as it can get. And then you got to drop it back down. So when now your wife is hostage and I'm raping her, it gets bad. Not that may happen, but you get what I'm saying. So that next thing can be like that epic thing where I think that's where rookie writers have to figure it out, because we don't always know where that is as much as a pro. Trying to figure out that second issue to drop it down, but make people stay interested. Because sometimes we're like, we'll drop it down. This is all conversations issue 2. You had action issue 1.
Yeah, all conversation to action doesn't work. Anyway.
Right, exactly. So yeah, those are things that happened. And by the way, none of those are what happened in this bad issues that happened. I wish those things happened because then I have constructive criticism.
Well, it sounds like you. Well, I'm sure you could find a way to make it constructive if you wanted it to. Right now, I mean, sometimes like bad comic books can be their own special little bits of joy. Right? He gets made fun of a lot, but I will never forget Rob Liefeld's Captain America #1. I will never forget it for as long as I live. It's an awful book. It really is. I'm going to make this caveat up front. I actually think Rob Liefeld has some amazing ideas. Like he's one of the best idea guys in comics, but sometimes his execution is wow. That book is in my head. Like I had a buddy. He only wanted me to recommend him bad comics, like just bad comics. This is like I got him that. I got him that as one of the examples. It's just like he went to me afterwards, dude. That was bad. That's really, really bad. Not the worst thing I ever gave him. That honor fell to Jeff Johns' Adventures Superboy Prime arc in Adventure Comics.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that one, my friend actually went. That actually hurt my brain, dude. That actually hurt my brain. So,
but I do want to say this when we talk about this. I do believe in feedback. I do believe, like, I love it when people rip myself apart, but you got to be a certain level. Even Daniel, one of our first conversations, he asked me what I liked about one, and I asked him permission. Hey, can I give you some feedback? And he said, he's gone.
He vanished like a ninja.
What a horrible time to leave. Now I feel like, can I say it?
You can say what you want. You can say what you want.
Yeah, but I may get in trouble. Is he okay?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Should we wait a second?
Yeah, we'll wait. We can wait a second. There he goes.
All right.
Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me get back on the screen.
That was literally the worst time to leave, my friend.
Your audio, your mic. No, can't hear you. Okay. Now everybody's watching and waiting. See, now you got the opportunity to say whatever you want. Yeah.
I mean, okay, all right, cool. Yeah, so feedback. Going back to the feedback subject, I love because I want to be the best at this. I don't want to just be good. I want to be the best. So I love getting my stuff ripped apart. You there, Daniel?
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Yay! I log out again. It's my Wi-Fi is like suddenly had a weird. So
you literally left at the worst part because I brought you. Did you hear where you left?
I was like, said something. What was it? It's like
I go. So one of the first things when I met Daniel, I asked him if I could give feedback on his comic, and then literally you disappeared.
Oh no, that was gonna be my Wi-Fi just goes going.
It's okay. Listen, Daniel, you're in a safe space here. No one's
gonna
hurt you.
Wi-Fi. I think I didn't even hear the Daniel part. It's like the first two words, and then all of a sudden, it cuts out, and I'm like, oh no, what?
No, it's okay. It's okay. We thought you.
Am I glitching?
No, you're fine. You're good. You're totally good.
So Daniel, I asked him if I could give him feedback, and he said it was okay.
No, if it's still funky.
I'm just going to tell the story. So
just tell the story at this point.
I gave him feedback, and what I found out was the stuff that I didn't like about it was in his original script, but his editor wanted it changed for the publishing company. So that was pretty cool, So we had the same vibe, we had the same conversations, and it just didn't work out because of that. Hey, can you hear us now?
Yeah, hopefully it works. Yeah, hopefully it works. I think it's happening with my Wi-Fi upstairs, was a little weird. So.
Yeah, I just got rid of the other Wi-Fi there. Can you see us? Hear us? It's all good.
I can see you, and I can hear you. And then you start kind of glitching out. And I just switched to the 5G router because somehow when I'm on the non-5G, it gets wonky. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but no. Sometimes like I'm editing a comic right now. I'm trying to keep it very faithful to the story he wants to tell. But I also while we're warning the continuity of everything he's established previously, right? It's like you have to pay this off because you've set this up for the last so long. There has to be a payoff here, or no one's gonna want to read it, right? And that's important.
Sure.
But besides that, it's like. It's his story. My job is just to do the best I can to make it better.
Yeah, like for example, like for my South American Dreams 1 and 2, one ended on like a slightly cliffhanger because it's the origin story and I have to continue the origin story, but I also needed, a set piece. So I can't just have, introspection, continuing the story. I need a superhero comic. I need to have some action. So I did the sweatshop fire sequence, which gives some drama, some action, it's not like punchy throwy action. It's still an action of piece of suspense, like how the hell they're going to get out of this fire.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's actually only going to be here for about another 10 minutes, and he goes off and ninjutsus away.
Right, but I'll be somewhere else. Just look on the internet.
What were you going to say about myself, Travis?
What's that?
What were you going to say about myself, Travis, before my internet decided to go?
Well, see, this is what would have happened if Travis leaves and you disappear.
Yeah,
I'm going to do like a happy dance for like 2 minutes, and if you don't show back up, right, then I'm going to be like, well, I guess the show's over, ladies and gentlemen, because I would have been it. That would have been it, right?
Yeah,
right.
It was really weird. It was like, I don't know what happened. It's like also my internet decided to have a.
Chuck hates Restream. Chuck absolutely hates it but it's great for a PC. I use it because it's a lot more free friendly than a lot of the other platforms out there. But it does have some. If you have a cell phone, it does not love you. That's one thing about it.
Yeah, I'm on my laptop, but I'm directly under my Wi-Fi router. That's two floors up, but it's like, sometimes Optimum does not like to play nice.
No, sometimes they just don't. No, they just don't. So, but like I said, going back to like the initial thing we were talking about before everything got wonky, like if they are your friend and you're interested in making them better, give them that conversation, right? If they're not really your friend and they're just like a friend of me, you occasionally enjoy arguing and bashing to death, then let them do their thing.
No, I wouldn't say that, but yeah, it's so in indie comics, there's people who want to come alongside of you, and there's people who just want your resources, right? Mm-hmm. I have no problem people who want to come alongside of me. Come alongside of me. But if you just want me to give you my list of resources so you can kind of go do it on your own, I don't want that friend. I don't want that relationship. That's not what I want. I want people to come alongside of me because the greats, the people who I love, came alongside. You know, Bendis brought in David Mack. David Mack brought in Michael Cello, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I eventually hope that we're in that crew. Then we all bring each other up to get to that next level.
Okay. So, all right. Yeah. And the other thing too is, like, I also know this too, just someone that's interviewed so many people, not everybody gets along. Like, it's just the way it is. Right. So, it's and that's fine. Like, the other thing too, the best quote unquote revenge. I'm not sure that's what you're going for, but the best way to deal with that is to do the best you can. Be the best you possible.
Yep. It's like an episode of Batman the Animated Series. Penguin's going, well, live life is the best revenge.
Yes, it's true. Yeah. It's absolutely true. Being unbelievably kind to that person that hates you because it breaks them in it breaks them in ways that nothing else will. Why are you being so nice to me? Because I can be. How you doing, buddy? Oh, kindness kills. Like I am that asshole. If I really know it, it's like I'm doing well and I'm with someone that I know has rooted for my downfall. I'll be super nice to them. Super nice to them. It's just watching that little implosion on the inside of their minds. I can. It's kind of fun. I have to admit, I am that asshole. So I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I read an indie comic today by a well-known artist. I'm not going to say who or what. And was the art good? Yes. Was the story fun? Yes. Was the story good? Like there's yeah.
It happens. Here's the other thing too. I equate it to it. I'm going to talk about like a very old musician. I'm not that old. My dad's that old, but I listen to my dad's music. I'm okay with that. Rod Stewart. His first couple albums aren't that, in my opinion, aren't that good. He gets better as he gets better the farther along he goes. Now, if you hate Rod Stewart the whole way, that's fine. I understand you. I understand it. But those first few times we go out there, right? I just admire the courage it takes just to get out there. You know what I mean? Like you don't have the filters. You don't have the there's no real guaranteed way, even if you have an idea what you're doing, that what you're doing is good. It
Right.
takes courage to go out there and say, here I am. And yeah, could they have done it better? Sure. Why not? Oh, we'll just say it for the sake of simplicity. Sure. But at the same time, I'm happy they just went and did it at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at like, any artist of any rate, people tend to write better when they're going through stuff because you can get that emotional and play, and everybody can relate to some sort of pain. Somebody's been through some sort of trauma. But musicians and stuff, it's trying to, when they're happy or they're not doing so, like that's finding that vibe is way harder, and I think that that's an interesting thing about creatives, and that's the difference between people who last a long time and people who don't, is finding that rhythm and that voice that's unique to you and can go through any state of mind.
Yeah. I remember reading, or at least hearing, because I think Stephen Sondheim said this in an interview. Stephen Sondheim, when he was a teenager, wrote a musical for his school, and he was so proud of it. He took it to his father figure, who was Oscar Hammerstein II, because his own now is not in the picture. Long story. Oscar Hammerstein II proceeds to rip it apart, but he says, "I'm doing this because you want to be a composer like me, and this is your beginning of your crash course." And Oscar Hammerstein II, to the day he died, was like Sondheim's second father and mentor figure and everything. And he gave, basically Sondheim some of the best lessons in how to write a musical.
Oh yeah, no. It's my first major published work was with Ben Bella Books. I got ripped to shreds, by those editors because they were trying to the best possible work they could get from me. Me now versus me then, nowhere near the edit job. Still an edit job in some places, but nowhere near the edit job. But it's hard. But again, you realize that, again, that's when you learn your lesson right at the very beginning, to let your ego go, because it's like, it's a weird paradox. You have to you recognize that not everything you do is going to be great. The only thing I actually disagree with anything Travis has said is I think you are a pro. I think you actually are a pro. You're not, just because you're doing it independently doesn't mean anything less. Just my opinion. But I think there's this balance. You're putting content out there all the time. I do it all the time on my podcast. There's always an new episode on the audio if you listen to it, like almost every day during the week. And that's because, but again, some of my episodes are great. Some of them are not so good, but some of them are there's a certain level of quality, it never goes below. And that's practice. But at the same time, even though I know all this and I've learned so much, when getting it's a weird thing. You can't be afraid to be ripped apart. I guess ultimately you can't be afraid to suck,
right?
And you have to be honest sometimes to acknowledge when you do suck. And that's maybe the hardest two lessons as an artist is, why did you suck? And very often it's because you held back. That's what, at least for me, that's what I've noticed. Like, you didn't do the thing you should have done. And you realize it's like, yeah, I didn't. Damn it.
Yeah, I've got to go, but I'll share one story that kind of influenced that for me. My first book is called Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies. It's a crime novella. It's basically two guys break down inside a road, lots of guns, lots of violence, very similar to a Quentin Tarantino movie. I have been writing since 1998. I went to film school. So in film school, they ripped apart my scripts and taught me how to write. When I wrote that first script, I wrote it intentionally to feel like a Quentin Tarantino movie. And then I showed my own voice in issue 2, 3, and 4. That made a lot of sense to me. What I didn't factor in is that everyone reading that first issue doesn't know Travis at all. So all they see is Quentin. So they're not interested. Right?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that my intentions were right, but I can't prove to those people that I knew what I was doing, because I didn't have that rep to be able to prove that to that audience.
Yeah. But also, I mean, it sometimes I'll let you go. I try to do a novel in the style George R. R. Martin writes the Game of Thrones novels. Yeah. That did not work so good.
Sure.
I can't do George R. R. Martin novels. I just can't, and that's fine. And not very many people can. That's a hard style. But it was a good lesson. I think trial and error is a very important part of being a creative.
Yeah.
But on that note, before we continue with Daniel, Travis, if there's anything you want to do a quick plug right before you disappear, go do so.
Well, Dave is gonna better talk about Night Wrath, not Wraith. He better talk about that. So I'm just gonna pitch one more time. CthulhuInvades.com. It's at $38,000 right now. We're approaching 700 backers. Get on board if you haven't. Come check it out. You will be entertained. It is the best book we've got. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Take it. Yep.
So check it out. And I will see you next time, just jostling for more therapy.
All right. We'll have to arrange a proper time for a proper interview when this is all over. All right.
All right.
Take it. And he is finished. So we go to part 2 of our conversation here. Right?
Yeah.
But no, it sounds like, so you came into the project and you're doing this project, but you're doing a lot of other things right now. So I guess we can do this. Now that Travis is gone, we can focus exclusively on you for a little bit here. It's like, yay, for a little bit here, for maybe another half hour or so. Yeah. I'll make you an invite right now. Why not, maybe in a couple weeks time, would you want to actually do a proper conversation, a full-fledged proper conversation? Would you like to come back?
Night Wrath actually ends on ends on Thursday, so it might be a little too late for Night Wrath. But I have American Dreams Volume 1 hopefully coming out this summer, so maybe somewhere but around.
Yeah, sure, totally. Yeah, you come back, do a proper one, just featuring you, right? Just because I again, like everybody's trying to contribute to the anthology because it's important, but at the same time, I mean, you got your own stuff you're rolling around with as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's
I launched Night Wrath, and then I realized, oh right, and then I think Travis said he was launching on this date, which happens to be my birthday, also be my birthday. So I'm like, oh, so I'm doing double duty this month. Gonna have to promote my stuff. I have to promote Invade, so I'm like, this is gonna be interesting.
So did you make so how's been the promo train? It's been exhausting.
Kinda, because I signed up for a lot of the Cthulhu Invades stuff, and Travis been nice to say, oh, make sure anyone else who has a Kickstarter during this time promote your stuff too. So I've been kind of like going back and forth between solo podcasts and this podcast. I did a podcast earlier this afternoon with a guy in the Netherlands to promote the Dutch release of American Dreams there. So it's like I've been like nonstop promo train all day.
So basically, you're just yeah. No, I get that. Like for me, I'm always interviewing somebody every day. So I mean, it's like almost every day anyway. And so I get it. Like you forget sometimes. What the hell am I supposed to talk about today? Right? Is it this or is it this?
I had that whole freeze moment of like, wait, what thing specifically from Cthulhu Invades I was supposed to be talking about here? It's like,
note to self in anthology. Do not. Yeah. No. Totally.
Do not freeze. Do not corpse.
Yeah.
It's like literally today I would have been in the office. I had to take a vacation because I had some chores I had to do around the house. I'm like, and I said to myself, I'll never be able to do them if I don't take this one vacation day. So I'm not in Manhattan today. But it's like you have to promote yourself and you have to be on so much during this Kickstarter period that by the time the Kickstarter is done, you're just like, oh. And also, if you have your, and also it's funny because last year I did American Dreams 1 from 5 as a Kickstarter. It was like releases 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5 was the new books. And I thought to myself, yeah, I'm gonna make goal pretty quickly. I had like a 5K goal. I didn't make it to like the last week of the Kickstarter, and then somehow we got through all the stretch goals. But I was like a nervous wreck the entire time.
Oh yeah.
Whereas this Kickstarter for Night Wrath, I was like, I reached goal. I was like, literally playing. We launched on Tuesday. I was literally that Friday where I was like, told my coworkers, we're so close to the goal, like $25 away. I just want the $25 so I can just not be less tense. He goes on to his phone to back. It's like, dude, what? You made it already. I'm like, what? Because on my PC I hadn't reloaded. So I'm like, okay, I can both hyperventilate and relax. But it's a much more relaxed Kickstarter this time around compared to the last year's because I already hit my goal. So it's like, okay, I just have to push it towards the stretch goals. It helps. And then like we hit all the stretch goals I had planned, and I'm like, oh no, what do I do? So I
Well,
came
yeah,
up with new ones.
it's also the experience. Like the first one's always the scariest.
Yeah.
Right. Because even if you hadn't hit it, let's say for the sake of argument, you'd have tried again. Like you would have done it in a few months' time. You would have figured out what you didn't do, and you'd try it again.
Yeah.
But the first one's always scary because, man, it's like, what if nobody wants my shit,
And
right? And then you just
second one was my second because my first one was with my old publisher, though I was the one technically running it. So the second one was my first one really solo.
yeah.
And I was like, oh no.
But see that one. See, but that one. Thing is about publishing, and I know this is like from my own experiences. When you're with a publisher, in one sense, it's easier because theoretically speaking, they're shouldering at least some of the burden with you, right?
Yeah.
Now, whether that's true or not, that's another story for another day. But I mean, but there is definitely like you definitely don't feel like you're alone when it's your thing. And I'm going through this right now with my own little enterprise right now. It's my own thing. Will somebody care enough to give it a try? Shrug. Like I have no idea, and that is truly terrifying, right?
Yes,
and
the
that's
whole
not
shot into the abyss.
Yeah, I know totally. That's what it is. Like you're like, so I got the confidence to go out there and like I said, all I can do is put myself out there, do all like I'm doing cold calls now. I'm doing everything I can because I don't know, right? And will it work? I hope so, because I don't. Again, I think I'm too old for a day job. I don't want to work a real job anymore. I'm too old for that shit. But I mean, I might have to, right? And that's the other. I mean, that's a reality that I can have to accept as well. It's like you might have to go back. You might have to get yourself some work. You might have to get yourself rolling again. And that's. I mean, that in itself is fine too. I kind of have to figure this out within like a week or two, and that's just it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? So
yeah. Because I like to say one of the hardest people working in comics is Charles Soule, because on top of writing a lot of comics, writing Star Wars novels, writing regular novels, he's also one of the top immigration attorneys in all of New York City. And somehow he has the time to do all of it.
I actually did an immigration. Worked for an immigration country to do one of their shows. So I got to learn a lot about immigration. It's a lot of paperwork. So, but I know I don't know about busiest. I think there's just a point. There's a point in your life where when you're doing everything you're supposed to do, everything's just clicking. It just clicks, and once it really starts to click, it's just you're part of the water wheel. It keeps rolling. Sometimes it's getting that water wheel turned on. That's hard, and then trying not to screw it up. Yeah. So.
Oh, by the way, I put the link to the Kickstarter in the private chat, so you can link it.
Ooh, yeah, sure. Give me a second here. So, American Dreams, Convent, Night Raft, 1A, a 90s influence anti-hero adventure.
Yeah. It's like, I literally saw this artist I really want to work with, Gabe Santos, Esquivel Art, and I really want to work something together, but I didn't have a story ready to go. I said, let's put something together we both want to write. And we had a back and forth, and we came up with this kind of like 90s action influenced of modern day set anti-hero story, though with my twists and spins on the tropes and everything. And it's basically a man with no confidence gets kidnapped by a bunch of mercenaries, gets experimented on, turned into a hulking purple thing, and he becomes the latest anti-hero in New York City. But he has this whole conflict because he's very unconfident while he's has his heroic self. He's big, he's brash. He has this little that twinge of absolutely no confidence whatsoever. So sometimes he overcompensates, and sometimes he's like, I'm just gonna get out of here.
Yeah. No, so the self-confidence like Hulk is basically what this sounds like.
Yeah, but it's like his confidence can sometimes go at the wrong moment. So it's like in the first 3 pages, you see him like give a beat down to a wannabe mugger, and then he gets yelled at by those almost victims. And it's like he's doing this whole big bravado. It's like, you know what? Forget about me. I'm just a bad dream, and he just off. he's realizing, yeah, I'm just gonna go now after all this bravado. Bye. As you know,
Almost.
as much
Sorry.
as a big hulking guy can do. But yeah.
Well, now I got like this. I got like this big giant creature with like a Mike Tyson style, like gentle voice, right? Because going in my head, and then this is what's in my head now. So when he's feeling really meek, like he sounds like Mike Tyson.
It's more. I think more like the cadence. It's like he's big, bold brushes. It's like suddenly like, you know what? I'm just a memory. Don't bother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it totally can happen. I've seen it with some pretty big famous people. It just does. Confidence is everything. It really when you come right down to it, if you can be a world beater, if you have the confidence, you can be a world beater no matter what you look like, what's your size. If you have no confidence, you can be the Incredible Hulk, and you're just going to be run over. It doesn't matter.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like you had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Gabe had a fun time drawing it. David was our inker, loved inking it. The other Daniel, who is the colorist, really has some great colors on the pages. We actually just got one this morning. And Francisco Zamora, who's our letterer, has been doing a great job. We got 3 great covers. Gabe did one, Fritz Cassis did one, and Ethel Diaz, who's on G.I. Joe, did one.
Nice.
So we have a bunch of nice covers. Also including you want like it as a sampler. We have issue 1 digitally or physically. You have also American Dreams 1 in a bundle, or you can buy Night Raff and all 5 issues of American Dreams digitally or physically.
Yes.
You can see.
So is it a finished story? Is it all done, or do you got more planned?
American Dreams, I have more planned. 6 is written and drawn. 7 is being edited at the moment. So hopefully I'll have notes from my editors on that soon. 1 through 5 is going to be collected in a trade planning this summer, hopefully, knock on wood. It's going to have some extra bonus features, including a new prologue and a couple shorts.
Mm-hmm. So it's going, it's expanding.
Yeah.
And
I like to say it's kind of all connected because even though American Dreams is set in 1900 and Night Raff is modern day, they're technically part of the same kind of Atlas Liberty verse that's going on.
Okay. So you built a universe. You're building your own comic.
I'm laying the bricks.
You're laying the bricks. So
yeah.
So let's see. So you're going to be the next like Boom Studios, or the next Image Comics, or the next Mike Mignola.
I'd say I'm the first me. Let me worry about the next.
Oh yeah, no. You know what? That is probably the best thing. I think that probably is the best thing you've said. I mean, it's actually great advice for everybody. There's no it's good to look at what the masters sought, but what it really comes down to is being the best version of you at the end of the day.
Yeah, because you could always say, all these people say, I'm gonna be the next Image, and they never do anything.
Yes.
Like you see, like a lot of talk, not a lot actually putting out the book. It's true. It's like a lot of people.
It's true. It's true.
It's true. It's like a lot of people talk a big game, but when people are like, "So where's the book?" And they're like,
"Oh yeah."
And it's frustrating because it's like you want them to succeed, no matter what. But it's like if you don't do the work, you're not gonna get there.
So I have 8 rules. I have actually 9 rules to success. The very first rule you will dig is this: show up. That's it. That's the whole of the rule.
Yeah. I was literally on an interview on I think it was Tuesday night. Oh, it was Wednesday night. And it was like rapid fire. And one of the questions was, what's the best piece of advice you can give someone? And I quoted the legendary director, producer Hal Prince, and it's the phrase, do the work.
Yep. That's rule 2. Do it. Do your shit.
Yeah.
Show up's first. Show up is first. Do your shit is the second rule.
Yeah, that's like Jim Lee said on his Twitch stream once, just draw, or in my case, just write, because I cannot try to save my life.
Yeah, no.
I have dysgraphia, so even my stick figures are terrible.
I was that way for quite a few years. Getting better.
Yeah. No, that's better than anything I can do. I literally have diagnosed dysgraphia to the point where I was allowed to lead a required art course in high school.
Well, no, see, I had this terrifying phobia of sucking, and then I realized, so what if I suck? And I've had fun, and I've been able to draw some great people as a result. So it's been super super lots of fun. So it's probably like the best piece of advice you'll ever find in this world is just do the thing you want to do and let what happens, right? Like
Yeah.
I did the like I said, I'm trying the advertising thing out because I think it's a good service. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but then that's really my job is to do everything I can to make it work. That's it. That's
Yeah.
all there is to it. And we'll let it work or it won't, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's like I'm doing a superhero book that's set in 1900 with a bunch of historical figures. It's like, and the protagonist is a Jewish immigrant. It's like, does it work? I think it does. Am I having fun writing it? Yes. Do others have fun reading it? That's the bonus.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do the best version of you that is absolutely possible.
Yeah.
And in turn, you will discover that people will notice. At least some people will notice anyway.
Yeah, I believe Shakespeare once said, "To thine own self be true."
It's really good. It's really good. It's one of the best Shakespeare quotes. It's probably like it should be like the fourth commandment. It's like really really good. Right?
Yeah.
It's all you can really be. It's all you can really be. Well, sir, I feel like what I would like to do with you somewhere down the road is you come back here, we do a full interview, we bullshit. When you're not quite so promoed out, because I get the feeling that you've done a lot of promotion in the last little bit, that you're at that point where you're like, I can't wait till this is over.
It's been a busy week between work and promotion and everything. It's like, and then my mom got COVID, so it's like, it's been a week.
No, I got you. So so I'm going to give you this option. I feel today for today, I feel we are okay right here. If that's what you want, if you want to be good right here, it's up to you. I mean, we can keep going on for a little while if you want to, but I get the feeling for you, like you
I'm
said,
sorry. I'm sorry to say this, but
yeah.
I'm very
Let's
vulnerable,
do this.
unfortunately.
Let's do this again when you're a little bit more coherent. You got another project ready to go. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah.
So why don't we do a final little rush, and then we'll
Okay.
call it a day.
So Night
talk
Rest
about.
is. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
You want me to do my spiel?
Well, I'm going to let you do your spiel. The only other thing is, how can people find you?
Okay. So Night Wrath is my current Kickstarter. The link's in here. 90s influence anti-hero tale. You're gonna love it. Action, adventure, pathos, a little bit of comedy. You can find me at Daniel Kalban on Facebook, at American Dreams Comic, and Atlas Studios Comics on Facebook as well. You can find me at Daniel Kalban on Twitter, and at D Kalban and Atlas Studio Comics on Instagram.
Okay.
And you can also find me in Cthulhu Invades Wonderland.
That's right, which is the other one we're gonna do right up here, folks. You can get that one right here. This was a very special edition of Just Joshing, as it was. I legitimately knew 2 hours ago who I was interviewing. Right? It's like, who am I interviewing? I don't know. Chuck Bonneau, thanks for putting this together. And as for me, this is now get to my wonderful little bits of promotion here. This is my latest book release, ladies and gentlemen. It is Alice 1. Alice in Wonderland is Greek mythology. Alice is Pandora. Alice chases the Queen of Hearts over the edge of the world, and in so doing ends up in the Greek underworld, where to escape, she must play Jason of the Argonauts a game of croquet to escape. Now, in this underworld, Alice and company encounter gods, monsters, and most terrifyingly of all, themselves. It's available now on Amazon. Finally, folks, I will do some wonderful advertising for you. I will do micro ads. I will do written copy. I will do all these things to build your commercial content to showcase the best you, your project, or your company. The service is available there. I can just make videos, or we can go a little bit more in depth. All the packages there. If you guys aren't interested, contact me there and do it. And that, folks, is today. Tomorrow, we got a little special episode going on. I have a Sarah Cornell, a piano player that plays classical music. She's going to be a special little guest on the show to wrap up this week. But until tomorrow, everybody, stay inspired, keep shining in the dark, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.